The man is a malignant narcissist, all right? That's a dangerous combination to have a narcissist like that. It's not a proud day for this country. How could it be a proud day when a man who was not elected by the people becomes president of the United States? How does that happen?
It happened during a Channel 4 interview when filmmaker Michael Moore put words to a fear many had whispered, and somewhere in a gilded penthouse, mirrors may have cracked.
Was it all just a dream?
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. That's not going to happen.
Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States.
Donald Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
He's not going to be president.
Is there a path to victory for Donald Trump at this point?
Donald Trump is the president of the United States.
It looked like a perp walk. He had written no victory speech. Never did a group of people look as sad to win the presidency as this crowd.
How the fuck did this happen?
Bold predictions shattered overnight, leaving broken crystal balls on air. The real story now is how that illusion keeps collapsing under light. What follows is drawn from real events, real footage, and real reactions. No scripts, no reenactments. It began with a trial defense so over the top, it practically begged to be remixed.
Donald Trump is a big believer in capitalism and free enterprise and the sort of thing that's driven us into the ground, this belief that you can just do whatever you want and it doesn't matter who gets hurt by it. And I don't really see him changing, but I think he knows he's been on TV, you know? I mean, he's a performance artist. He knows what to say and he knows how to make this appeal.
You think it's BS?
I think it's, well, please, I don't use that kind of language, but yes.
The audience chuckled nervously, but the message landed heavier than applause. What happens when the act people bought for decades is revealed as just theater?
Well, the Constitution has said a lot of things in these 200 years that shouldn't have been honored, and people committed acts of civil disobedience. They worked to change the law. This has to change. I will not tolerate this happening one more time in my lifetime.
You have to resign by the time the show's over. You know it, I know it.
On Channel 4 News, Moore turned the interview into a stage, mixing history with ultimatum. The tension wasn't just political, it was theater daring the spotlight to blink. And if tonight's reveal felt like just the opening act, stay tuned because Moore has plenty more stories ready to take the stage. Don't miss what's next.
He came out against the law. Right. And I'm like, wow, he really is affected. But in the moment, you think this is where Donald Trump is our friend? He's so consumed with wanting people to love him. He's so affected by what people think of him. The night after the election, we were out in front of Trump Tower. There was just a few hundred of us protesting.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, right? And he's tweeting, protesters outside my home. Unfair, all capital letters, unfair. It's like, dude, you just won.
As Michael Moore recounted, even on victory night, the scene looked uneasy tweets in all caps. Protests outside, a reminder how applause fades quicker than power.
The man is a malignant narcissist, all right? That's a dangerous combination to have a narcissist like that who's elected to public office because he's only thinking about himself. He's only thinking, how does this affect me? What do I get out of it? A politician who thinks like that, who has power, oftentimes will break the law, and I'm certain that's what we'll see.
On Channel 4 News, Michael Moore didn't mince words, warning what happens when self-interest rules the stage. If the mirror reflects only one face, what laws are left standing?
Now, I might imply that Hitler was Trump. That's a different podcast. But history never, that cliche of history repeats itself, it does not repeat itself. It's never exact in the way it repeats itself. But there are lessons to be learned, and there's things to always be worried about and to be concerned about based on what's happened in the past.
His eyes narrowed, voice measured, as if weighing each word a reflection that framed history as warning, not repetition.
President Trump wasn't going to do a damn thing for them. It'll be too late to do anything about it. But I get it. You wanted to send a message. You had righteous anger and justifiable anger. Well, message sent. Good night, America. You've just elected the last president of the United States.
The line froze applause midair, and gasps rippled through the crowd, an uneasy silence that lingered even as Moore leaned in to drive his point deeper. After that exchange, Moore took it further on live television, moving past criticism into a full dissection of the image, exposing details long hidden in plain sight.
Donald J. Trump. They see that the elites who ruined their lives hate Trump. Corporate America hates Trump. Wall Street hates Trump. The career politicians hate Trump. The media hates Trump after they loved him and created him and now hate him. Thank you, media. This election is going to be the biggest you ever recorded in human history. And it will feel good.
On live television, Michael Moore shifted from critique to dissection, his tone steady as he peeled back the polished mask. Laughter erupted, then silence confirmed the weight of his words.
He is the godfather of this decade's fake news.
This is
for him now to say fake news.
Fake news is this term.
Fake news that he's one of the founders of in the Obama era.
So
he created the fake news of the
Barack Obama is not a citizen, and
he said that there was intelligence.
That's right. He was called by a reputable,
credible
source,
that there was intelligence. He himself was going to. He was hiring investigators.
Yes.
To support his fake news.
Where did the phrase really begin? On stage, Michael Moore leaned in with a half smile, tracing it back, showing how a weaponized slogan can boomerang under brighter lights.
Yeah, it's okay. He's a little crazy, but he's not that bad. He is that bad. He is that bad. He was just a joke. He's crazy. You know, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and that's it. And no, that wasn't it. I said then, I say it now, he outsmarted everybody. He outsmarted the campaign of maybe one of the smartest people ever to run for president. And he's still doing it. He's the master distractor. He's the king of the misdirect. And we're being played every day by him. The man is an evil genius.
If politics has become a game of misdirection, the way to keep pace is to follow closely. Subscribe now, because every new turn demands attention.
We have to understand that Trump, he's always lying, but he's always telling the truth. He is telling you what he's up to, what he's going to do, and how he's going to make the country in his image and likeness. And this has to be stopped. All of us, off the couch, off the bench, into the game.
Michael Moore spoke with urgency, his steady tone underscoring a simple point. When warnings sound this clear, the choice is whether we listen or look away.
He's not in a political mind. He's just in a mental state of mind where, I don't know what happened to him at boarding school, but seriously, this guy has such a thin skin. I mean, there was that incident, there was a terrorist incident overseas in the middle of the weekend, and 5 in the morning, he's tweeting about Alec Baldwin and Saturday Night Live.
With a thin skin and early morning tweets about Alec Baldwin and Saturday Night Live, Moore's point landed. The contrast with real crises was impossible to ignore.
You know what I'm talking about. Whether Trump means it or not is kind of irrelevant, because he's saying the things to people who are hurting. And it's why every beaten down, nameless, forgotten working stiff who used to be part of what was called the middle class loves Trump. He is the human Molotov cocktail.
In that moment, Moore gave the anger a name. The room reacted with uneasy laughter, realizing the symbol wasn't policy. It was raw frustration turned into spectacle.
He knew how to do it because he was a TV star. He was already a beloved American TV star. Do you realize in the first year, I'm talking about The Apprentice, by the way, the looks on your face, he was the host of a show called The Apprentice. In between the Hudson River and La Cienega Boulevard, There are a lot of people that loved him because he knew how to keep it simple, stupid, right?
Moore reminded viewers the myth began on primetime, where boardroom drama masqueraded as leadership. And if you want to keep peeling back that script, stick with us.
None of what he said was true, but that didn't matter. He knew how to communicate to the American public. He knew how to tell them what they wanted to hear. He went all over Wisconsin the last week saying, I'm gonna make you all rich. I'm gonna make you all rich. You're gonna make you all rich. Well, geez, who wouldn't like to hear that, right?
When cheers grow louder than questions, and style outweighs substance, was it belief that carried the night, or simply a crowd sold on illusion?
That he's so reckless. He's really an anarchist at heart. He says the words. He wants to blow up the system.
How about angry for decades?
But that's what happens when you act out of anger. You pay a price, 4 decades perhaps, by
Both
responding.
administrations, letting them down.
And we should be making our plans right now as to how we're going to resist and stop his fake national emergency.
By now, the mood had shifted. Silence spread through the studio as Moore warned of what decades of unmet promises had bred anger that no longer stayed in the margins.
What I and millions of others are doing, we are going to be active every single day. I'm sure he'll do a number of things that look good. There was a German a while back in the last century. He said, I'm going to give everybody a shovel and a job and a paycheck. Oh, by the way, Mercedes and BMW, you charge too much for your cars, so we're going to start up a car company for the people.
The parallel was clear, and the studio fell quiet. For Moore, the lesson wasn't history repeating, it was history echoing, waiting to see if anyone hears in time.
Fox News was using my name.
Michael Moore, who knows white working class voters, has made movies about them, grew up in Michigan, had been saying all along to the Democrats, dismiss him at your own peril.
And he said, I'm warning you, I know the people who live in my state, and I know how they think, and I know what their concerns are.
Even Fox News invoked his name, noting Moore knew the white working class. From Michigan, his warning carried weight, and soon the narrative itself began to slip from its owner's hands.
His political career off of unverifiable and ultimately incorrect, conspiratorial, and frankly racist theories about the president's crypto-Kenyan birth, right? And forged documents and all this stuff.
He pulled it off. Now we'll wait to see if the press decides to back down or come back at him.
And stay on the conflict story, which to me...
And stay on the fact that he is a founder of fake news.
It began with the very label he once weaponized. Moore pointed out how the creator of fake news now carried it himself, irony hanging heavy in the air. So what do you think, should power collapse when the story unravels, or does the myth survive even after the headlines turn?
Well, I think that the system has already been blown up for me. He has completely destroyed the Republican Party. In my film, John said there is no Republican Party anymore. It's called the Trump Party.
From there, the spotlight widened to the party around him, described as hollowed out when a banner shrinks to one man's name. What remains to rally behind?
Part of it is the work that we're going to do, but part of it is the work he's going to do. He's going to be the best organizer that we could ask for, because when he starts to cause harm to our fellow Americans, people are going to rise up. They're not going to take this. They're not going to take it from a guy that did not get a majority of the votes of the people of this country.
And as Moore pressed further, the focus turned to people's response, suggesting the backlash itself could become the strongest organizer when harm grows too obvious to ignore.
This is the new America that I think the rest of the world doesn't really understand, and is rightfully confused when people like Donald Trump end up in the White House.
But isn't that what drives Trump supporters? A basic fear of being outnumbered.
Yes, they know that. They know there's more of us than there are of them, and they know that's...
Finally, his words circled back to the bigger picture, a shifting America where fear of being outnumbered drove loyalty, even as numbers told a different story.
He has no actual beliefs, except his one belief, his belief in Donald J. Trump. That's the entirety of his belief system, which makes him very dangerous. People say to me, well, if we impeach Trump, we'd have Pence. That'd be worse. No, it wouldn't be worse. Pence believes in things. He believes if you're gay, he can convert you to being straight. That's a belief. And I don't fear him or the great debate with him.
From the question of belief to the weakness of ego, Moore shifted the frame if ideology couldn't bring him down. Perhaps laughter in unison just might.
I suggested a few months ago that we have an army of satire, because I think the way to bring him down is with satire. His thin skin, as you've pointed out so well, is so thin. All we need is like 1,000 or 1,000,000 little comedy shivs. Just, no, non-violent, don't hurt him, but just under his skin, because he can't take being laughed at. He's watching you, Stephen.
Right now? I think he's watching this.
Yeah, no. And I'll tell you, and the army of satire, we already have given our first Medal of Honor to Melissa McCarthy, because she's taken down the first Trump administration official with satire.
In the end, Michael Moore closed with something different from outrage. He offered satire as a weapon. Not courts, not policies, but ridicule sharp enough to pierce the thinnest skin. From the apprentice myth to the collapse of party lines, his warning stayed the same. Power built on illusion can't withstand a joke that lands. And in the end, laughter wasn't just entertainment. It was the verdict, delivered night after night, until the mask slipped for good. This video features real public footage, media appearances, and direct quotes for the purpose of commentary and political satire. It fully complies with YouTube's community guidelines and adheres to fair use standards under U.S. copyright law. If this moment leaves you more concerned than amused, stay with us. The stakes are real and the conversation has only just begun.